Well, good evening, everyone. Really good to be in your companies, back together again. Good to be here. Certainly, I'm thankful to God for this very beautiful opportunity that He's given us. This is your friend, Bishop-elect Edlin Scott, and this is Phenomenal Leadership. Certainly, we thank God so much. We had a little break, went to Fort Lauderdale, and then took a break, a little vacation, and then here we are back together again. But I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to taking off as we head into a new year. And I thank God so much for all of you that have been following us. We want to continue to follow us. So, like, share it with as many persons as you can. This is Phenomenal Leadership, and I'm your friend, Bishop-elect Edlin Scott. Really excited. We're on two platforms, YouTube. We're seeing on YouTube, Edlin Scott's page, and then Voice of Deliverance page, and then Edlin Scott Facebook page. And so we're really looking forward to a really good program. Reach out to somebody, let them know that Bishop Scott is live. We're live. Yes, I want you to like it and share it. Fresh back from Fort Lauderdale, where we had an absolutely great time in the Lord as we went at Divine Worship Center. Pastor Brown and the saints at Divine Worship Center there on Oakland Park Boulevard. We had a wonderful time. We were there the 29th, the 30th, and the 31st. Those 3 nights, really powerful 3 nights, really great. Our friends from Palm Beach came down, Pastor Morrison and his church, Overcomers, United Overcomers. They were in the house with us 2 nights, and that really was an awesome fellowship. Thank God so much for those of you that made it happen for us, those of you that came out and support us. The saints were driving from Miami, from Fort Pierce, out of town. They were just driving, coming down to the service. And even those that watch me out of the Miami area, really appreciate you. Really, it was just good to see you. You know, I was contemplating whether or not this was really making sense. And when I saw the saints standing, they stood in the service and said, we are here because we are watching Pastor Scott. We follow him on Facebook. That said a whole lot to me. And so big shout out to all of you in Florida, those you're watching, wherever you're watching. Hey, it's a great idea to go ahead and post it there in the chat stream. Let me know where you are watching me from. Let us know the area that you're watching us from. Now, this weekend, God really impressed upon me to pray a prayer. And on Monday morning, in my prayer hour, I went before the Lord and I prayed a prayer. And I sent it out to as many of my contacts as I possibly could have. But if you need someone to come in agreement with you, I can send that prayer to you. I can send it to you so you can put it in the chat stream. And then when this broadcast is over, I will send it to you some kind of way. If you want me to WhatsApp it to you, then of course you may have to find a way to get me your WhatsApp number. I can, if you're put it in the chat stream, of course, I should be able to inbox it to you, but I'll get it to you. Got a loved one that is sick, somebody in hospital. It's better to follow God. It's better to follow God. I don't care what nobody says. It's better to follow God. And as I came back from the vacation, I came back on Saturday, the Lord just pressed it upon me. He said to pray. And I mean, it just went viral. The saints were just reporting back, oh, Pastor, we thank you so much for the prayer. It was what was needed for that time. And that's how God works. God knows what we have need of. And that's how he'll work. And so, it's okay. It is okay to send it to somebody. It is okay to just send it to somebody's phone, send it to somebody's computer, send it to somebody's device so that they can benefit from the prayer that I prayed this past Monday. In fact, what I'm going to do, we're going to be back here again on Thursday. I'm going to take some prayer requests. And then next Monday, I can add whatever it is that you want me to pray for to my prayer requests. and I want to pray for that. So beginning right now, if you have a prayer request, send it to me. I want to put it before the Lord and give it to the Lord, because prayer still works. A lot of things is not working, but prayer still works. And so I want to pray for you. So send your prayer request to me, and I'll add it to my prayer list. And on Monday coming, I'm going to put it before the Lord. And we're going to watch God work that miracle in your life. So if you're interested in the prayer that I prayed on Monday, yesterday, inbox me and I'll forward it to you. I'll forward the prayer to you. When I'm done with this broadcast, I'm going to go and look through the chat stream, and those of you that requested it, I'm going to shoot it right out to you so that you can benefit from it. You know, I was talking to somebody that I actually sent the prayer to on Monday, not knowing that they were in town for hospital visit. They were in town to see the doctors, and then things kind of went out of control, but they got the prayer. And so I keep in contact with them. I wanted to find that it's not so easy to be with a loved one while they're in hospital nowadays at the COVID protocols and everything that you have to adhere to. And so, but you can send them that prayer. A friend of mine that was sick for a while, and I just went down my prayer list, my contact list. I was just sending it out to people, and they just called back and said, really appreciate it. It was just what is needed. God knows what you need. And so all the glory belongs to the Lord. So if you want a copy of that prayer, reach out to me. And at the end of this broadcast, I'll go through the chat stream, put your name in the chat stream and said, Pastor, send me the prayer, and I'll go ahead and send it out to you. Now, God has really given me something that I want to deal with, and I'm going to call it a series. And I want to talk about how leaders gain influence. Influence is very important. In fact, influence is absolutely necessary. I began to think about the teaching, and as I thought about the teaching, the thing that God brought in my spirit was that whatever a leader gets, he is supposed to, or he is expected to multiply that to people. So, whatever leaders are exposed to, they share it with their people and multiply. Remember the story about when the crowd was hungry. They were following Jesus, and the crowd was hungry. And he asked among the crowd, what do you have? And they says, all we got are 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. And Jesus multiplied that, and it was able to feed 5,000. When Jesus gave out the talents, and one came back to him and said, I was afraid to do anything with this, and so I hid it, but I'm bringing it and returning it back to you. He said, you're wicked and slothful. But everybody else multiplied what it was that they were given. And so over the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I had the opportunity to be before the Lord. Really, I had the opportunity of being before the Lord. As I prepared for the revival, as I was in the revival, and then afterwards I went on a vacation and I just ate and sleep. Because I wanted to be refreshed. And so here I am, I'm back. And so we have the responsibility, leaders have the responsibility to multiply people. And so I want to share something with you that's going to multiply you. I want to share something to you that's going to expand you, because that's what it's all about. When leaders are developed, when leaders gain influence, when leaders become better, then they benefit people better. People benefit better. The Bible says, my people are destroyed because of the lack of knowledge. If leadership does not have the knowledge, then leadership cannot benefit the people. So leaders gets the value but they have the responsibility of multiplying the value to people. And so that's why I'm in your life. I'm in your life for no other reason than to multiply you, to help you to become the person that God expects you to be, and for you to go out there and help as many persons as you can. So, I don't know how long the series is going to last, but I'm going to do it until I get to the end of it. In fact, we're talking about how leaders gain influence. Now, I'm going to take every letter out of influence. Today, I'm going to be dealing with the I in influence, and we're going to talk about influence. So at the end of this, I'm sure it's going to help you. And as I began to study it up, I was doing it from while I was off the island, while I was away, and I was studying it up. And this is something I'm going to make sure that this be a part of my life, how to gain influence. John Maxwell says leadership is all about influence. Leadership is all about influence. Nothing more, nothing less. That's a word that John Maxwell has coined. Leadership is all about influence. Now, influence is something that everybody has. Every single person listening to me, every single person you know has influence. Now, the problem is this. Everybody needs to increase influence. Because what was good for you 20 years ago, you need more than that today. Think about this. 20 years ago when we were growing up, the sun wasn't this hot. It most definitely was not this hot. Things were not this difficult. I was actually looking at a flyer of a car dealer selling some cars, and I think it was 1979, or it may even have been earlier than 79. But new cars was going for $2,000. If cars were going for $2,000 today, every single soul you know would have had a car. A brand new car at that. But brand new cars was going for $2,000. Could you imagine that? So, what influence you had back then, you need to increase influence today. Because, think about this also. If you say to your child today, don't go there. Next year, you can't just tell them, don't go there. You're going to have to tell them why not to go there. Because they would have grown beyond that. They would have gone to a place where they have a better understanding why they should not go there. So, as people grow, leaders have to grow. So, it's leaders are encouraging, leaders are fostering, leaders are nourishing growth, but leaders also have to grow. So, everyone has influence, but everyone needs more influence. And so what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about how to gain more influence, because it is necessary. It is necessary. All right, watch it now. How do we gain influence? How do we gain influence? All right, I'm a pop a word up on the screen. How do you gain influence? From the eye of influence, it starts with integrity. It starts with integrity. If you want to gain influence leaders, you must have integrity. Anyone that wants to climb, whether the corporate ladder, whether he wants to have a better relationship, it starts with influence. It starts with integrity. Integrity is one of the most key ingredients in growth. If you want to climb the ladder, if you want to move up the chain, you have to have some level of integrity. Integrity is very, very important. Now, watch this. In leadership, mistakes are common, and they will always be common. But most mistakes, you can correct them. Most mistakes, After a while, they can be corrected. They can be fixed. But I'll tell you this. If you betray someone's trust, if you lack integrity, you will not climb the corporate ladder. You will not climb the leadership ladder. A lot of people in my 28 years being around church, I have met a lot of gifted leaders. I mean, they're absolutely gifted leaders. They can sing well, they can play the organ, they can play the drums, they're good musicians, they're great preachers. But gifting alone is not going to keep you. Bishop Apostle Wallace would have always told me, he said, Scott, I can get you in some doors, but your integrity is what's going to keep you in the doors. Someone can give you access, and believe me, access is the greatest. Access is the absolute greatest gift anybody can give you. I just had the opportunity to go to Florida, and someone opened a door for me, gave me access. I met a pastor, and then they invited me to their church. And then she caused me to meet everybody that listened to her invitation. Every friend that she had, pastor friend, she invited them to the service, and she gave me access to them. Now, they came because she said, this is a great young man to meet. My integrity determines whether their impression of me will be like her impression of me. See, people can get you in the door, but it's your integrity, your behavior, which determines how long you stay in the door. Now, is the relationship a one-time relationship, a one-night stand, or is this going to be something that's going to last and last and last? So, to betray one's trust is a damning and a damaging to your client. Without integrity, it damages. It spells death to your climb up the ladder. Because if people don't trust you, they won't follow you. If people don't trust you, you're not going to be close. So, to betray someone's trust is something that is very hard to repair. Very hard to repair. And most of the time, it don't ever get repaired. So, as a leader, if you want influence, you have to be concerned not to betray someone's trust. Your integrity is important. Now, to betray someone's trust means to do something very bad and hurtful to someone that causes them to lose respect for you. People follow leaders because they want to, or people follow leaders because they have to. When people follow leaders because they want to, leaders get more from them than people who follow leaders because they have to. So, watch out. Do not mess up people's trust. Pastor, how do I gain this word integrity? How do I gain this word integrity? It's important that you know what you stand for. There's a saying, if you don't stand for something, you will fall at anything. In order to increase influence, you must know what you stand for. And that speaks about your integrity. What do you stand for? It is easy to do right. It is easy to do right when you know ahead of time what you stand for. It is easy to do right when you know ahead of time what you stand for. We drove from Fort Lauderdale to Orlando. And I used the GPS because I really didn't know where I was going. And so I was using the GPS. And the GPS tells you ahead of time where to turn. It'll say, stay left at the fork or go right at the fork. It'll say, in 2 miles, it's exit whatever number, and you take that to the other place. So it gives you a play-by-play of what to expect. See, when you know what you stand for, you don't get shell shock when you find yourself in a crisis. If I know what I stand for, if I come to your house and you could leave $1 million and you could go out of the room, I'm not going to mess with your $1 million because I know beforehand I'm not a thief. So no matter how much money around me, I am not teased. I don't feel like thieving. I do not feel like stealing because that's not me. So integrity is all about knowing beforehand what is the right thing to do. You got to know beforehand what is the right thing to do. See, a lot of people feels like it is the crisis that defines the individual. The crisis do not define the individual. A lot of people feel like, boy, when the trouble come, then the real me gonna come out. No. David went after the lion and the bear, not because that was a crisis moment. David went after the lion and the bear because he knew beforehand that God, man, I feel like teaching this thing tonight. He knew beforehand that God would have given him deliverance over the lion and the bear. David knew beforehand that the God that he served had power over the lion and the bear. So that's why he could have jumped up. He could have jumped up and go after the lion and the bear because he already knew that God would have delivered him. So the crisis now doesn't teach you or doesn't bring out the character in you. The crisis didn't bring out the character in David. David was already the king. David was already the warrior. David was already that great warring person. He was already that. He was already a soldier. Now, nobody else knew that he was a soldier. But he knew it and God knew it. And so that's why David could have jumped up. So, integrity, crisis don't bring out integrity. Rough times don't bring out integrity. I'll tell you this. The person that cuss when they hit their toe is because they cuss. The person that comes to your house and steals your money, they have always been a thief. They didn't just become a thief when they saw your money. There was always a thief. The person in your life, listen, when I borrow people money, I am bothered until I pay them. And there's some people I owe right now that I have not paid. But every time I see them, I'm thinking about the money I owe them. Don't ever think someone borrows your money and they forget. They don't forget. People don't forget. How do you don't forget? They just a thief. And so crisis. See, we're talking about how leaders gain influence. A leader is going to gain influence when he have integrity. Integrity causes you not to betray the trust of people that look up to you. You don't hurt them. Now, I gotta admit, some things gonna happen that gonna hurt people, whether they're gonna happen involuntarily. Some things you gonna do that you may not even do. But there are some people that presumptuously just don't care. I don't care what people think. I don't care about all that kind of stuff. No. It is easy to do the right thing when you know what you stand for before time. So the crisis doesn't bring out the character. All the crisis does, or the crisis doesn't create the character. What the crisis does, it reveals the character. Because of the lion and the bear, it revealed who David was. Because they ran out of wine, it revealed that Jesus could turn water into wine. So, crisis doesn't reveal character. Crisis reveals character. Crisis do not create character. All right? Crisis creates nothing more, nothing less. Crisis doesn't change. Crisis just uncovers who you are. So you got to be careful. You got to know what you stand for. You got to know what you believe in beforehand. So then when time to make that decision, you already know what you're going to do. You already know what you're going to do. The reason the pandemic was so hard on the world because we've never been here before, so they really didn't know what to do. So every day was a practice. If you're going to gain influence with people, leaders, your integrity has to be very important. There's so much that can be said about this. There's just so much that can be said about this. But it just helps. It just helps to have a good. It just helps to have a good integrity. Be concerned about people. Be concerned about how you... See, people learn more from what they see than what you say. So, people are watching you. So, your integrity. And in my studies, I'm finding that being a leader of influence is a lot simpler than a lot of people will imagine. It's a lot simpler than a lot of people would imagine. People feel that the leader is the authority. The leader is not. Leading is not about authority. Leading is not about authority. And we're going to find out a lot more about this as we get into our teaching. All right? So, integrity is important. Now, the next time we meet on Thursday Gospel Life, we're going to be talking about the N in integrity. So today, we learned about that influence, how to gain influence, it begins with integrity. The next thing that helps us to gain influence is the N in influence, which talks about nurturing. So on Thursday, we're going to talk about nurturing. Now, nurturing really is the softest part of leadership. Nurturing is the softest part of leadership. Now, I know a lot of people feel like leaders ain't supposed to be soft. But nurturing is the soft part of leadership. And even though nurturing is the soft part of leadership, nurturing happens to be the hardest part of leadership. So we can tell you why on Thursday when we get together for some more of this phenomenal leadership. Listen, thank you so very much for joining me tonight. I want you to hang with me for the series on how leaders gain influence. Tonight, we learn leaders gain influence by having integrity. Integrity is very, very important. Once you break people's trust, you ain't got to worry about going up the ladder no more, because it's going to be very difficult. You could destroy something that you took 20 years to build in 5 minutes of not being sensitive or not knowing the right thing. And so leaders must know the right. It's easy to do the right thing ahead of time when you know it. Leaders must always do the right thing because somebody is watching. So I want you to join me on Thursday. We're going to talk about the nurturing, the soft side of leadership. Really interesting, very interesting. You really want to be with me on Thursday for that. On Monday, I prayed a prayer. If you have not gotten it, or if you want that prayer that I prayed on Monday, just inbox me. Just put in the chat stream, say, Pastor, I want the prayer. I'll find a way to inbox you and send it out to you so that you can send it to a loved one, send it to somebody, play it in your house, play it in your car, play it on your phone. Just benefit from it. That's all I'm concerned about. Listen, thank you so much. Enjoyed having you with me. Amen. Big shout out to my friends in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, all the way up to Palm Beach, and beyond, all the way up to Fort Pierce. Everybody that came out to the revival. Listen, love you, love you, love you. I'm looking forward to coming your way as soon as I can. Really enjoyed you. Pastor Brown, love you and all the saints there at Divine Worship Center. Pastor Morrison at United Overcomers. Love you all. God bless you. See you on Thursday night as we talk about how leaders gain influence. Number one, they gain it by having good integrity. And number two, leaders are nurturers. Join me on this coming Thursday night.